I've spent the last 4 months on the road, visiting, traveling all over British Columbia, visiting people who are working on their languages, on First Nations languages. And from their stories, I hear the challenges that they face, that in being able to do this work. And I think that one of the things that I've witnessed is the need in the communities to have the expertise, what people in these halls, what we learn to do, they need that out there. But they need it in a way that meets their goal. And last week I was in a community, driving over a logging road for 3 hours. I'm not used to that anymore. I drive now like up Foul Bay, it's gentle and soft. And anyway, I went out to this community, and I thought I would just share this story with you about I think some of the things that we need to think about. I came into the community, and the people in the community were so excited that I and my research team were coming to see the work that they do in language. Because nobody is interested in Canada about what happens with Indigenous languages. And very few people are even interested in what these teachers are doing. And so they were so happy that somebody was coming to acknowledge and to witness the work that they do. And so it's a great deal of responsibility then on my part to be that listener that Musa talked about. Because so what I'm learning, what I'm hearing, what I'm taking in when they tell me the stories about the work that they do is beyond the object of what's bringing me there. It's my responsibility to be able to hear what they're telling me. And anyway, so they were, so they had all of these things planned, which threw out my schedule. And I thought I was coming in to talk to certain people. I ended up doing many other things. So, but one of the things that I'm just so pleased that I witnessed was in this community, the people there's a group of elders, and there are not very many people who still speak their language in this community. But there's a group of elders who come together, and I was privileged to meet with them over two days. And they're working with a young man who comes from Boston, from the east. And he's learned their language from way over there. And he's in their community, and he's about 2 feet taller than the tallest person there. And so you see him, and he's got tattoos up his, like from his wrist all the way up to his neck. And so you notice this guy. And he's speaking, and he speaks their language beautifully, but he speaks it very fast. And so it was interesting to watch their relationship. And so I attended a meeting that they have every Tuesday morning, in which he prepares, in which they come together to kind of, so that everybody's on the same page. Because amongst this group of speakers, they've intermarried. So some of them have come from another village. They speak the same language, but they speak it a little bit differently. And so they're different generations, and so languages change. And so in order to be able to make sure that everybody's on the same page when they're teaching the children, they come together every Tuesday morning. And so this particular morning, I guess they'd been working on some ideas, some words, and the words that they were working on was above and below. Okay, so how do you construct sentences that involve the above and below? And so he was sitting there, and he'd work, and he must have really worked. This guy works really hard, and he loves this language. He's a linguist. And so he's sitting there, and he's got these pages, and he's composed all these sentences using the word above, and then all these pages, of words that he composed using the word below. Well, so he's reading them off, really fast. And I'm watching the people, and they're kind of going like this. And, because he's using the term above, not understanding that in the culture, there's a difference there are more terms for above than just the one that he learned, that he was aware of. And he was using it in contexts that didn't fit. And so they're trying to tell him, they're trying to hold him back, they're trying to stop him. And I can tell, like, he just needs to get this done. He's got 1 hour, and he's got to go over to out of the building to another class, and he's got to work with 5-year-olds. Okay, because he's the language teacher too. And so he's trying to get through this. And he said, but we talked about this last week, he said. And so he wanted them to just say, okay, it's okay. But they wouldn't let him. And because I was there, it gave them, in a sense, a little bit of a lift to be able to stand their ground, to try to explain to him that they could not say that the eagle was flying above I can't remember what the other word was. But they said, because they said you can't use it like that. And so they were trying to understand each other. And it was a struggle. Why? Because he had to construct these sentences, and he wasn't hearing what the people were trying to tell him. And because the construction was right from a linguistic point of view, but it wasn't from the people, the way that the people speak their language. And then, so then this was over, and up we had to run. We ran across the field, and then this guy moves fast. And you see, like, he's way over 6 feet, and we're all trying to keep up with him. The elder is coming, and so anyway, they arrive. And he's got it all planned. He's got 20 minutes. So the elder's going to sing a song, get the song done, and then I'm going to do this story. So kids, be right there. And so he's got this book. And I was just really, really taken with it. He's got this story books with lots of pictures. And he's telling the story. He's not paying attention to what the kids are listening or not, or picking up. But he's telling the story in Nuchanu. Sorry, I shouldn't have said where it was. But he speaks this language. He's learning it. He doesn't feel like he's fluent. All right. So the challenge for this young man, He's got his PhD in linguistics. He loves this language. He wants nothing more than to study this language from his world, from the world of linguistics. There is nothing in his preparation to be a doctor of linguistics. There is nothing that prepared him to be in this community. Nothing. And I think that that's something that we have, if we're going to be serious about this word partnership, that we in the university have to take into consideration when we're preparing people to go out into those communities, because we bring a world into those communities. And it's not to say there has been lots of real challenge, but the people I know in our communities know that they need the tools, the skills, the knowledge that we have developed here to be able to help the work that they do. And so somehow it's more than being able it's more than language. It's really, the partnership is aligning, being able to align the two worlds in some way, to know where they come together and to know where they diverge. And the other thing is to be able to accept that they were different. And somehow in the educational world, we have bought this idea, this notion of homogeneity, of sameness, and that everybody has to be the same or similar, and yes, there are many ways in which we're common and we're similar, but we're also different, and that's what makes us human.